Good morning, everyone. Let's have a look at Bitcoin and Bitcoin's best friends. So we did a stream last night, and long story short, said look, the chances are we either go up a little bit higher, but we're gonna need to make a lower high. Sorry, a higher low. Sorry, a higher low. And it looks like it's going to happen sooner rather than later, and that was the stream last night, and since then we've started to make a higher low. So the higher low could be formed either here, exactly right this very moment in time, on this 4-hourly 21 exponential, 110,700, or a tiny bit lower, 110,400, or thereabouts, basically. That's your Bitcoin, obviously. For Ethereum, we're kind of basically it right now, so we kind of really want to be holding here. I was at this line's here just because I was showing somebody how to determine as and when and how to make a futures trade. So we've come down to that level, so the level has now been hit for long, if of course that is what it is that you would like to do. Make sure that you have a stop loss in play, because it doesn't always go in your favour. But yeah, same thing with Ethereum. So Ethereum's moved back down, curled down now to the center of a Bollinger Band. Now Ethereum has a better chart on the 4-hourly generally. It's got bullish divergence leading into this golden cross retest where you bounced and should be forming a V-shaped recovery now. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, they both look like they've done what we expected to see last night. So now is the moment that it either bounces or not. If it does come down, there is a chance of a double bottom. But if we start closing below, well, for Ethereum, 4,200, start going below there, closing below there, problemo. And for Bitcoin, well, yeah, really, it's about 110,000 really. See 110,000, you'll see that a revisiting of 108, then probably. Moving over to the higher term timeframes, you've got more supports below you, starting at 104 and ending at 101,500, all of which would be areas for a major reversal. But right this very moment in time, there's a 4-hourly support that might lead to a bounce that continues to move up, breaking through these areas on the daily, which is the big resistance. Yesterday we hit the 21 exponential, big line in the sand, more likely to be rejected from there. As you can see, we have been. So we want to see another attempt to break above 112,500. So a lot of numbers there, a lot of supports, a lot of resistance. It's just a game, isn't it, really? It's just a game of risk to reward, statistics over time frames. That's all it is that we're looking at. But I wanted to just let you know a little bit of good news, really, about all altcoins and most altcoins. Not all. No altcoin is created equal, you know that. But most altcoins are presenting in a way on the high-term timeframes which are bullish. So we'll start with like some of the more obvious ones. There's your XRP. Consolidation now over a couple of months. There's your support, 20 moving average between $2.59 and the 21 at $2.67. There's no bullish divergence on this yet, nothing like that. So XRP gets a bit of a bad rap. I think less so now because it's held this current value, over several dollars now, for a prolonged period of time. So maybe things have changed, but it still gets a bad rap. Oh, look at it, come on. If we were to lose those areas, the last line in the sand based on a daily is around 250. There's a horizontal and a golden cross. So you're looking for that to get picked up with huge buying. That'll take you to a new all-time high. That's what I would expect to see. Now, without going through every single altcoin and devaluing the Patreon that we do, where we look at all those altcoins and more. I just wanted to put it to you that when it comes to the decent, the top caps, the strong, not even so much the strong, but generally the boring old farty, not the fart coin, but the top caps really. They're all bullish on a weekly. They are. They're all bullish on a weekly, offering opportunities basically now or last week, but now and maybe throughout the rest of this week, maybe into next week. Based on a weekly doesn't mean that by buying them they go up by the second that you press buy. It's not often how it works anyway, is it? You know, I pressed buy. Why hasn't it immediately made me loads of cash? You know, when I press the buy button, I expect it to just go up 10, 20, 50, 100%. You know, that's just how it's supposed to work. No, it's not. No, it's not. When you're buying things on a weekly, it's like, it's like back in the olden days when you start your car in cold weather, you just got to leave it to run for a bit. You can't just start your car and drive off into the ice. You've got to warm the thing up. That's what it's like on a weekly. You've got to buy it. You've got to sit there. You've got to warm it up. You've got to defrost and de-ice it. Wait for it to even start. Even when you start, you've got to start slow. I'm good with my analogies, aren't I? Because you might slip on the ice. But right now, what it is we're de-icing the car. Based on the weeklies, I'm just going to show a couple of them here. Obviously, we've seen that. There's your XRP. Algo was one, surprisingly, despite how rubbish it performs. Algo is a good one on a weekly. And I say good. It's not good. It's opportunistic. Link, obviously, is always good. Link has been a great chart for a long time now, hitting the 7 simple moving average. Really good to set up there. I mean, we can go on and on and on. Sol obviously tearing up, having a great time. So the weeklies are still looking good. No signs of weakness on this weekly either. Doge, USDT, we've got a good one over here as well. The golden cross, double golden cross. These are all on weeklies, hitting the centre of a Bollinger Band around about the 20 to 21 cent zone. So look, I'm not highlighting all these things you should just buy instantly. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying buy anything at all. It's not financial advice. You do what you want. I'm just, some of these things I have, some of these things I don't have. But I'm just putting it to you that it's not bad. As far as an overall picture is concerned, these are all bullish charts, and you should be looking for further upside based on how they appear right now. Things could change in a week, but right now this is how they look. I also said last night that, surprisingly, good opportunities take place for those of us who wake up early in the morning. So I generally start looking at the charts between 6 and 7 in the morning, Greenwich Mean Time. And I find that, that's where, a decent setup would usually materialise. A little bit after that, you're sort of not really sure. Throughout the day, it gets a bit choppy. And by the time the American markets are opening, that's when you either get acceleration or reversal of whatever took place in the morning. So at the moment, it does look like, right this very moment in time, across the board, opportunities on the 4-hourlies and on the weeklies, and even some dailies. So I like what I see. I think it's worthy of taking part in these markets. Right, I'll leave it there. There's nothing much more to say. So if you want to join the Patreon, links in the description below, as well as a multitude of exchanges with various perks for setting them up. Right, thanks for watching. Hope you have a nice day. Take it easy.